How do you build a sustainable life around something that was never really built to last? I've been trying to figure that out with tricking for more than 20 years. I think what hooked me first was freedom. I tried gymnastics and capoeira, but I didn't like the feeling that somebody told me exactly how I should move. With tricking, it felt different. Suddenly we could create our own style, learn things in our own order, train the way we wanted. I remember the times being in school, at high school. During the classes I would have my notebooks and write tricking combos on the pages. Life was very simple and there was almost nothing else in it except tricking. I was training all the time, training before school, training after school, training in evening. My circles were slowly getting smaller, all my friends were becoming trickers. I remember going to tricking gatherings and sleeping at friends' sofas. Community was really heartwarming and everybody felt like a good close friend. We started to travel a lot to gatherings with my friends, inside Finland but also internationally. I was only 14 years old when I first got invited to Falun gathering, and ever since then it was ongoing. During the next 10 years I went to more than 150 international tricking gatherings. I was fully living and breathing tricking. Tricking really gave to me, my group of people, a sense of belonging, and also the possibility to become something. I wanted to be good, I wanted to give my everything for the sport. I wanted to become the best. And I started to build my whole life around it. It was fun, reckless, innocent, just pushing, having fun with friends. Crazy times. For a really long time, trickers actually didn't have a home. We had to train on everybody's leftover hours. Gymnastics leftovers, cheerleading leftovers, late nights after everybody had already finished and the gym was finally free. Quite often we literally had to run out before the alarms would turn on. I feel like we really had to go through a lot of struggle and fighting to get our training space. First of all, it felt almost impossible to get on a spring floor. And even after we had the access, I felt like gymnastics organizations wanted to kick us out. I even heard that in the meetings, they punched the fist on the table and said, we have to get the trickers out of here. I really feel like we were not really being accepted, liked, and nobody wanted us there. We had to train in the corner and kind of be careful that what if someone will kick us out. We were really the outsiders at the gym at that time. That was around 10-15 years before LegendTrick gym or any tricking gyms in the world even existed. Gatherings and community were still keeping the tricking spirit and culture alive. And I remember once we had rented the whole gymnastics hall, but I think the organization who rented the gym for us didn't tell the other organization, and their leader came to the gathering, said everybody to shut down the music, started screaming and said, get out of here, get out of here. In the middle of a gathering, we had flown out people there. We had 150 trickers there and we had a permission. We were paying for that. And still we had to go through all that trouble, shaming, horrible feelings. But going through that struggle, I feel like it also made the old school tricking generation even tighter and stronger together. But basically, we were just trying to survive. I think those experiences have shaped the willpower and motivation for me with LegendTrick Gym to keep on going, push through, because I want to give the next generation a better opportunity, a better atmosphere. And that's been the driving force and still is behind LegendTrick Gym. I think that's why this place, this gym and this community matters so much for me. Because finally we have a place where we belong. The young trickers, the teenagers, they have a place where they are accepted, they are admired, they have a feeling of belonging, they have adults and peers who want them to be there, who support their growth. That's what I was missing in my generation in general. And it's beautiful that we can provide it for the next one. When I was younger, tricking was basically my whole life. Everything revolved around training, but now life is much bigger than that. I'm not that young lion anymore who shows up to every gathering to do the craziest tricks there. When I was younger, everything was about breaking the world records, doing something, being the first, being the best. A lot of ego involved. But now, I'm not trying to be the best anymore. I'm just trying to keep on moving well, enjoy tricking on the highest level possible I can, and most importantly, be there. Be there for tricking and be there for the next generation and the community. By organizing events, running gym, helping other communities to open theirs. That's my goal and that's my place. I think in order to stay in the tricking game, your identity has to change. When you're younger, you can be there to push, to be the best, to inspire others by doing crazy tricks on the floor. But once you're getting older, a new generation arrives. They're gonna push even harder than you. And it's their turn. You should be there supporting them. That's what I'm doing nowadays. I'm not just a tricker. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a business owner, entrepreneur, I'm an employer. I'm responsible for the health and well-being of many people, not only my wife and my son, but also people who work at LegendTrick gym, who do shows with me, my students. There's a lot of people who rely on me, and that puts a lot of weight on my shoulders, a lot of responsibility that I have to carry. But that's why I go to the gym and try to make the shoulders bigger. When I was younger, I used to train 12, 14 times a week. It's not possible anymore. Nowadays, I'm tricking 3 times a week and doing a workout straight after. Something between 3 to 8 hours per week, that's all I can get. And even that sometimes feels selfish. But I feel like in order for me to feel good about myself and be there for others, I need to be tricking. And I need to maintain my skills, my power, my flexibility on the highest level possible, because that's what makes me happy and that's what makes me have energy for others. So yeah, when you are a 33 years old tricker, there is much less free time than you used to have. That's why nowadays I'm training smarter. Even though I'm not there in the middle of the floor in the craziest height like I used to be when I was younger, I still want to keep inspiring the youth. I'm pushing as hard as I can. Sometimes I'm thinking that I wish my students saw me when I was younger. I was pushing hard. I still am, but now it's on all areas of life. Trying to optimize the way how I use my time. I try to be present for my family. At the same time, trying to build systems for the company, trying to create an infrastructure for tricking. Because building something sustainable for life from something that didn't exist, it takes enormous amount of energy and effort. I feel like I had to sacrifice everything in my life in order to get to the point where we are. To be able to move forward, you constantly gotta rebirth, develop yourself, go through evolution to go into the next stage of life, which is very exciting. It's like another journey, similar like tricking, but in all areas of life. Life changed a lot, but definitely to a better direction. I feel like at 33, you're much more clear about what you want in life, what you want to get, who you want to keep close to, and what's your goal and mission.
And look at this, now my own students are here teaching the classes. Beautiful.
Honestly, when I was younger, tricking was mostly about my own progression. Learning harder tricks, training longer, trying to become better than yesterday. But somewhere along the way, things slowly started changing. Now when I look around this gym, I realize that most of my favorite moments in tricking are not about my own tricks anymore. It's the atmosphere, the people staying after the class, everyone pushing each other, laughing together, playing video games and basketball after training, watching students land things they once thought were impossible. Back in 2005, when I started tricking, places like this didn't exist. There wasn't any tricking gyms. For years we were training wherever we could find place. Late nights, borrowed halls, constantly adapting around other sports. So sometimes I still stop and appreciate moments like this.
Because I think the community and places like this are one of the most important things for the future of tricking. At some point, it stopped being only about my own progression.
Yeah. I still fully don't know how the future of tricking will look like. A lot changes when you grow older. People move on, life gets busier, responsibilities grow, and I've seen so many talented people disappear from the scene over the years. But I still believe this culture deserves spaces, it deserves communities, and it deserves people who care enough to keep building something around it. And I think that's probably why I still care too. Not only because of the tricks anymore, but because of everything surrounding them. The friendships, the memories, the growth, and the feeling of belonging somewhere. More than 20 years later, I'm still grateful that tricking became part of my life.